AskReddit by Esina. What job position is 100% overvalued and overpaid? Gillette engineers, they took 5 years to go from 3 blades to 4. And they got the idea from reading The Onion. Member of the International Olympic Committee, IOC. They've had a lengthy history of excessive demands. $4 million us spent on entertainment in Nagano, traffic lanes dedicated to IOC members during the games, etc. They make very few decisions, all of which are politically motivated. They travel extensively and are paid well for it. 0 and %20 at %20 the %20 Olympics. From the article. Although technically a volunteer, the IOC president receives a yearly allowance of $251,000 and lives rent-free in a 5-star hotel and spa in Switzerland. Double quote. I wouldn't mind that job. How do I apply? Do they teach corruption or a job requirement? My ad director, he's never around, automates his email, and he has his own company. So many ad directors are not techs by any stretch, but just management that filled the void. They end up hiring MSPs to do the work. They pretty much balance the budget and approve requests for permissions or product purchases. If someone else is regional VP, they are either drowning in responsibilities working 70 hours a week, or they have absolutely nothing to do other than collecting a check. I would expand this, personally. Call it the Michael Scott theorem. In any company of sufficient size, there is at least one layer of management that is completely useless, but kept around as a dumping ground for people who earned a promotion but really should have stuck to non-management work, nepotism hires, and people who definitely shouldn't have been hired but are kept around so the person who recommended approved hiring them doesn't get embarrassed. Ferrari strategist. You'd think out of pure dumb luck they'd eventually make a correct call, right? You'd be wrong. Generally, us govt contractor positions requiring high security clearances. Entry-level pay isn't that high, but once you're cleared, other contractors will offer bigger bucks because you can get cleared with them quickly. Jump from one to another, wait 2 years, do it again, lather, rinse, repeat. I have a very close friend that falls into this category. He literally sits at a desk overlooking a beautiful lake and once a month drives 60 miles to visually inspect a dam. Like, just drive to it and look at it. He always jokes, if you want to see your tax dollars wasted, come visit me at work. His previous job, road construction. I am here for a potential change of career. So what have we got so far, guys? My mum, from whom I am estranged, works as the vice president of reward at an international company. She basically arranges contracts so millionaires can get more money and gets paid £189,000 a year for it. Even she thinks it's ridiculous. Gosh, even the title of that job, vice president of reward, sounds made up. Like something you give an EPO baby to keep them busy. President of FIFA. Today, I feel gay. I feel disabled. I feel like a migrant worker, lol. About 2/3 of the upper level admins at the university I work for. I am the payroll person at a state university, and I completely agree with this. The people in upper management aren't even in union protected jobs who, in theory, should be the first ones gone when we need to settle the budget problems we have. Instead, they were the only ones who got raises during COVID. One night I babysat 3 kids for about 2 hours or so. The kids went to bed when I got there, and the parents had left dinner out for me, so all I did was eat their food and watch their TV and pet their dogs. When they got home, the mom paid me $100. I told her that was way too much. She slurred, "Don't worry about it, I'm drunk," and then I noticed her fly was down. So that was the most overpaid job ever, lol. One of the smartest moves you can make as a parent is treat those who take care of your children incredibly well. I always overpay my sitters, they're worth every penny with the peace of mind they give me. My uncle was a commercial airline pilot. He described his job as vastly overpaid in normal circumstances and vastly underpaid in emergency situations. Deleted. Hospital CEOs, and actually almost all hospital upper management. There are so many layers of management that many of them barely step foot into a healthcare facility ever, let alone ever speak to a patient, yet all of them make 6, 7, 8-figure salaries plus mega bonuses. My hospital network CEO makes $11 million salary not including bonuses, which bothers me, but bothers me even more are all the board members and shit directly under him making nearly as much. It's hundreds of millions of wasted money paid to the people trying to screw staff out of good pay and screwing patients into paying big bills. I also work for a healthcare organization and our CEO also makes $11 million annually, one of many, as you said. In December we had a meeting about the financial results and leadership discussed how the healthcare industry is in trouble, how our salaries and wages are our biggest problem. This devolved into a tangent of essentially nobody wants to work and we can't keep nurses on staff. I wonder why. Therefore we are relying on costly temp help and it's killing us. Listening to some C-suite finance skinsuit who makes a 7-figure salary. Edit to at, this was not the CEO. I'm aware 11M is 8 figures. Explain to us that greedy nurses are totally the problem and we'll have to look hard at our expenses this year. AKA probably more layoffs. Was a sickening experience I just haven't been able to shake. I still don't know what big firm consultants do. I do consulting. It is just either outsourced office work or creating fluffy PowerPoints to give executives an excuse to authorize spending. It's not a bad gig. My last job in college, before starting my career, I was an overnight shelter staff for transitional housing. Since these clients were basically back up on their feet by the time they arrived, they were pretty self-sufficient. I was paid about 25% higher than other night shift jobs I could get at the time, and on most nights all I had to do was make one pot of coffee. The rest of the time I could watch TV, play video games, do personal chores, etc. The one job that I know was better was their overnight sleeper, since we had to have 2 staff at all times. As implied, this dude made a well above minimum wage rate to just sleep there on the weekends. Did the same job, believe me there's a reason it's paid better. It's the same job regardless of who the clients are, and they make a huge difference. I worked a young person's hostel similar to yours, all very low need for the most part. It was a beautifully chill gig. But most of my time was spent in high risk high need, and 80% of the time it was also pretty chill, but that other 20% more than made up the bullshit you lack the majority of the time. Life coach. This girl I know became a life coach and charges $300 $500 per person for a 4-hour seminar that a friend of mine used to help her set up for. Friend said all it was 4 hours of her saying these people are great and doing yoga plus breathing exercises. And she had repeat customers and often 4-8 people per class $2,400 per weekend to tell people they are awesome and do a few yoga stretches. Fucking wild. Mine, lol. But I'm not gonna tell my employer that. Gary. Sorry to contact you over Reddit, but your mailbox is full and you're not responding to emails. We really need that report on you Splatric 12 if we're expected to keep Operation Thunderfuck on schedule. Please CC Big Cheese and Amp, Bright Hat, they've requested to be keep informed. Regards. Analyst 12A2. Edit, disregard, this was supposed to be a PM. Not sure how to delete on mobile over a sat phone. Whoever was in charge of that fuck up in Ohio. I was at a train museum with my kids one time that had this really cool kids area where kids could run model trains around, switch cars in the yard, etc. The whole time we were in there was an older guy running the trains. Nice guy, talked to the kids, but really into toy trains. We left before he did. As we were walking out the door, A museum worker stopped us and informed us the man was the CEO of Norfolk Southern just playing with toy trains at a museum. Anyone who makes a ton of money by inserting themselves into big transactions and charging fees as a percentage of the transaction. Brokers, title companies, etc. There's the classic line from Trading Places, 1983, by Eddie Murphy to the Duke brothers when they explain their business as commodities brokers to him. Sounds to me like you guys are a couple of bookies. We paid a guy company $10,000 to come and do a motivational speech at the school, which was supposed to improve kindness among the kids at school. It didn't work. In-house legal for a corporation. I basically browsed the internet most of the day in my office, maybe reviewed 1 or 2 standardized contracts and occasionally sat in during a firing. I made $80K a year plus benefits. Edit. To clarify, I am a paralegal, not an attorney, and the work was limited to contracts and entity formation. I guess it depends where you are, and maybe my expectations were just wrong, but you made significantly less than I assumed most companies' legal departments made. Mine. I am a DevOps engineer at a fintech startup. I write server configurations for $125K and I work about 10-20 hours a week, remotely. I keep thinking they've figured out how easy my job is and decided to fire me, and then instead they tell me I'm doing a great job and promote me. I smoked weed all through college and got a degree in philosophy, and did not go to grad school. So how did you get into that job with that education? And what does writing server configurations entail? Thanks. I'm a project manager making $200K and I'm about to take an after lunch nap. TV preachers. CEOs of hospitals. I say this as a nurse who continually sees them get bonuses, despite us being short-staffed and AMP, getting 3% raises. Short-staffed? I believe you mean controlling healthcare costs, and that means it's time for another bonus. Admin. So many MBAs in management. Fuck me, there is so much bloat in middle management. Anything that could be reduced to I make a lot of money because I move a lot of money, like brokers, insurers, Wall Street staff, real estate agents. Like the warthog. Realtor. While I believe they can provide value in some situations, technology has put a lot of the work into the buyer's hands. You find places you like, send them to a realtor, they walk you through and point out which rooms are bathrooms, print out a mountain of paper for you to sign and BOOM $50,000 commission. I may be biased here, but I am not exaggerating when I say more than half of the dudes in my fraternity who dropped out of college because of bad grades became realtors. I'm bracing for impact here, but diversity and inclusion officers are doing much of what HR has been doing for years. Deleted.